Richard Feynman was one of the sharpest minds of the 20th century, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist who helped unravel the secrets of quantum electrodynamics. Yet one of his favorite strategies was to act dumb. In meetings, he'd ask childlike questions, take things literally, or pretend not to follow along. And the effect was disarming. His colleagues quickly decided that he wasn't cut out for committee work, and they stopped inviting him, which was exactly the point. Feynman called this the art of being irresponsible on purpose. By cultivating the appearance of unsuitability, he freed himself from the endless obligations tied up in academia so he could preserve his time to do what mattered to him most. Think. Hi, I'm Sam Mass. I'm a writer and filmmaker, and in this video, I want to expand on Richard Feynman's idea of being intentionally naive and show you how you can apply it to get more enjoyment from your work, to be more optimistic, to improve your curiosity, and paradoxically, to actually get smarter. But first, let's talk about why appearing dumber than you are is actually a sign of intelligence. We tend to think intelligence means always having the right answer, always projecting confidence, always appearing to be the smartest person in the room. But that's more performance than intelligence. Real intelligence is strategic. It's knowing when to look sharp and when to play dumb. It's the ability to shift posture, sometimes appearing strong and other times appearing naive. It all depends on the results that you want. Think about the opposite. The person who insists on being right even when it makes the situation worse. We've all been there. Your ego takes over and you get so focused on being right that in the process you lose what you actually wanted, whether that was connection or understanding or progress toward a shared goal. That's not intelligence because you didn't get the results that you wanted. That's stupidity because your strategy failed. And Feynman understood this. When he asked deliberately dumb questions, he wasn't showing weakness, he was showing control. He used the appearance of unsuitability as a tool to get what he wanted, and while others were stuck in committee meetings, he preserved his time to focus on what mattered to him. Basically, what I'm trying to say is looking smart is not the same as being smart. In fact, those most obsessed with appearing intelligent often trap themselves in endless signaling. And Feynman wasn't unique in this. You can see the same pattern in another genius, Thomas Edison. When I was reading Edmund Morrison's Edison, I was struck by how many people in it say that he came across as childlike and even dumb. During his lifetime, Edison was touted as a genius. He was said to be the smartest man alive, so people would meet him with these great expectations of this towering intellect. And afterward, they would report on how simple he seemed, childlike. And I think that was the secret to his actual genius. It was his endless curiosity, his directness. He wasn't trying to put on the posture of being smart. He stayed curious when others wouldn't. He would ask questions that people were too proud to ask. And he'd follow problems wherever they led. And that childlike posture, while it can make you seem stupid, is the secret behind so much genius. The paradox is that not being afraid to look dumb can actually make you smarter. When you're obsessed with appearing intelligent, you avoid exposing gaps in your knowledge. If something comes up that you don't understand, you nod along or fake confidence. You protect your image. But in doing so, you lose the chance to learn. But if you're willing to look like a fool, if you'll ask the questions that other people are afraid to ask, if you'll say, I'm sorry, I don't understand that, could you explain it to me further? Or I'm still having trouble understanding that, can you explain that to me like I'm a 5-year-old? When you say things like that because you're not embarrassed or afraid to appear dumb, you actually expand your knowledge. You gain information, you gain clarity, and you gain experience you otherwise wouldn't have. The people that are obsessed with appearing smart often stagnate, while the ones willing to look dumb keep expanding what they know. And it leads us to another benefit, which is that it spurs you to act more. If you're always thinking about what something will lead to or how it'll make you look, you risk strangling the work before it starts. You imagine the outcomes and stop yourself if they don't look big or important enough or too hard to get to. But if you say, I'm too dumb to know the outcome, you shift the focus back into the process itself. The act of doing becomes the reason for doing. Allowing yourself to be dumb in this way isn't foolish, it's liberating. It protects you from being too smart for your own good. And this happens to me all of the time. If I think about something for too long, whether that's starting a YouTube channel or writing a book or building something new, I can convince myself that I know the outcome just by imagining it. I'll follow it to the end of the road and I'll think, oh, that's what'll happen if I do that. And once I know, whether it's good or bad, my motivation drops. Even if I think it's $1 million idea, I'm less likely to do it because I already know what's going to happen. The real pleasure in doing things is figuring out where they'll lead. It's the not knowing that makes it really exciting. What's the point of doing something if you've already lived the ending in your head? That's when I remind myself to be dumb. When I start picturing the end result, I tell myself, you're not smart enough to know what's going to happen. You can't know. The only way to find out is to do it. And that leads me to do more things and take more risks in my life. And it's not just with creative projects, but that framing also helps in other aspects of my life, including socially. I tend to default to a pessimistic mindset. And when you're pessimistic, you always imagine a negative outcome. You picture talking to a stranger or calling up an old friend, and you just assume they won't want to talk. So you don't do it. You put it off. But when you remind yourself that you have no idea what's actually going to happen, it becomes easier to try things. You give yourself permission to act. And what happens is you find out that you're usually wrong. The people do like hearing from you. That old friend is glad that you reached out. They were thinking of doing the same. And that's the quiet power of admitting that you don't know. It protects you from your own pessimism. It keeps you open. Think about the happiest people that you know. They're often not the smartest people. They're not gaming out every possible outcome or worrying about what could go wrong. They stay open and curious and let things happen, while the highly intelligent people often fall into the trap of overthinking things. Many people who struggle with depression are in some ways too smart for their own good. They believe that they know what will happen. Their imagination is too strong, and you combine that with a pessimistic mindset, and the world becomes dull and unwelcoming and not worth engaging in. But if you instead stop gaming out what you think will happen or imagining what you think will happen, and you just try it anyway, what you'll find is that people are more open to you than you thought. The world is more welcoming and kinder than you imagined it to be. The project that you were afraid to start goes better than you expected. And it starts to rewire your brain toward optimism. The irony here is that being dumb can actually lead to a richer life. It can make you try more things and stay open to what happens in the world. It makes you more present, and you'll often find more joy and growth and surprise along the way. And when that happens, it not only changes you, but it also changes the way other people experience you. When you convince yourself that you know everything about people, about how things will play out, you stop listening, you stop asking questions, and you close yourself off to the world. But when you admit that you don't know, when you stay curious and pay attention, you listen more closely. And that openness is magnetic. It attracts people. Everybody wants to be around someone who still sees the world with discovery and wonder, who approaches conversations not knowing where they'll lead, but genuinely wants to find out. It's energizing to be around somebody like that. And while it might make you seem simple or even dumb on the surface, it actually makes you a better listener, a better partner, and a better friend. The impetus for making this video came from a post that I saw on Substack, and it had tens of thousands of likes, and it was titled something like hobbies that make you seem more intelligent. Not hobbies that make you more intelligent, but hobbies that make you seem more intelligent. And I got this sinking feeling in my gut when I read that and saw that people were celebrating it, because I think that's just a recipe for a really miserable life. It must be younger adults, like teenagers or in college, I imagine, that are liking and spreading this post, because as you grow up, what you come to realize is that the most annoying people to be around are those that are obsessed with appearing a certain way, whether that be smart or powerful or strong. It's really frustrating to be around those people because it doesn't come across as genuine. And what you find is that the people that don't care about those things, who are just genuinely following their own curiosities and interests, are much better to be around and have a much richer life. So I imagine that people are liking these posts because they're lost and they want to be smarter and they want to come across a certain way. But the truth is that following advice like that is going to have the opposite effect on your life. What I'm saying is, just stop worrying about how you're perceived by others and follow what genuinely makes you curious. Anyway, hopefully this video serves as a counter argument to that and a reminder that some of the smartest people in history are not afraid to come across as simple. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment. It helps out a ton. Subscribe for more videos on writing, thinking, and analog tools, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, by the way, if you're interested in getting more out of these videos, seeing more about my references, my research notes, or ideas that didn't make it into the final cut, you can check out my Substack, endnotes, and extras. That's where I'll be posting the supplemental content and deeper breakdowns that don't fit into the main video. Also, if you didn't know, there's a membership side of the channel. It's where I'll share behind the scenes about the process as the channel grows, how it's growing, all the analytics, even the financials, and where that money is being spent. So if that kind of stuff interests you, you can check that out as well. Anyway, thank you for all of your support. Just watching is enough, and I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.